2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7.
Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, the 24th of February, and it's Tortilla Chip Day. And a big happy birthday to Edward James Almos, Rupert James, Ben Miller, and Billy Zane.
7.
That's air raid sirens ringing out across Kiev as Russian President Vladimir Putin began what he described as a special military operation in Ukraine. Missile strikes and gunfire have been reported in Kiev around the airport, with reports of explosions from multiple other Ukrainian cities and Russian Marines in Odessa. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky urged calm.
Шановні громадяни України, сьогодні вранці президент Путін оголосив проведення.
He asked Ukrainians to stay at home as Russia attacks military installations across the country, but he says Ukraine is ready and that he's spoken to US President Biden. At the UN, a debate was underway on the Russia-Ukraine crisis as the first explosions were heard and the Ukrainian ambassador to the UN broke the news.
Too late. The Russian president declared a war on the record. Should I play the video of your president?
UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres made a heartfelt plea to stop the attacks before it was too late.
I have only one thing to say from the bottom of my heart. President Putin, stop your troops from attacking the Ukraine. Give peace a chance. Too many people have already died.
There was immediate condemnation of the Russian attack on Ukraine, with US President Biden declaring that President Putin has chosen a premeditated war that will bring a catastrophic loss of life and human suffering. Boris Johnson too condemned the attacks, promising that the UK and their allies would respond decisively to President Putin's decision to follow a path of bloodshed and destruction. Earlier at Prime Minister's Question Time, the issue of Russia and the low level of sanctions applied so far was on Labour leader Keir Starmer's mind.
The Prime Minister promised that in the event of an invasion, he would unleash a full package of sanctions. If not now, then when?
Boris assured the House that there are more sanctions to come and also had an announcement on more practical military aid for Ukraine.
The UK will shortly be providing a further package of military support to Ukraine. This will include lethal aid in the form of defensive weapons and non-lethal aid.
Meanwhile, Defence Secretary Ben Wallace was somewhat more frank about Vladimir Putin and his view on the situation while chatting to military personnel.
Unfortunately, we've got some busy adversaries now. We've just gone full Tonto.
The death of Breonna Taylor, who was shot while in her own apartment during a no-knock raid in March 2020 in Kentucky, led to civil unrest and protests when no police officers were indicted for her murder. Her family subsequently won a civil action and the police department agreed to reform its procedures. Now, 2 years later, the trial of police officer Brett Hankinson is finally underway, but on charges of wanton endangerment rather than murder. Prosecutor Barbara Wally addressed the jury.
This is not a case to decide who is responsible for the death of Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor should not have died that night. The city of Louisville, in a civil matter, paid millions of dollars to Breonna Taylor's family, but the money did not bring her back. Nothing will.
Cyber and phone abuse was a hot topic on Wednesday in the Commons as police charged 2 men with sending offensive, indecent, obscene or menacing messages to Labour's Deputy Leader Angela Rayner. And Labour MP Maria Miller wanted to know what the government plans to do about so-called cyber flashing, which is a widespread issue.
4 in 10 young women in this country have received an unsolicited, naked image of a man's genitals. This sort of abuse has absolutely no place in our society.
Secretary of State for Safeguarding Rachel McLean says the government will take action shortly.
I want to thank my right honourable friend for her consistent championing of this disgusting form of abuse against women and girls. I can do more than refer to my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, who is sitting behind me and has himself committed to introducing cyber flashing as an offence as soon as possible.
Still to come on the Smart 7, things got hot in the desert during Mad Max and the Tinder swindle is still winding up women. Right after this. Welcome back. 3,
2,
It was a busy night of football action on Wednesday with 3 Premier League games and Champions League last 16 action. It was high scoring in the Premier League with Liverpool beating Leeds 4-0, Watford losing 4-1 to Crystal Palace and Burnley beating Spurs 1-0 with Tottenham boss Antonio Conte questioning if he's the right man for the job. Man United travelled to Spain to take on Atletico Madrid and were lucky to come away with a 1-1 draw. The star of the show was 19-year-old winger Anthony Elanga, who grabbed the equaliser for United with his first touch of the game.
I've dreamt of moments like this, scoring in the Champions League. Obviously, in a big occasion like this against a top European team like Atletico Madrid, it's like I say, it's a dream come true. But no, it's only first half. First half is gone now, and second half is in Old Trafford in a couple of weeks. So we've got to be ready for that.
Mad Max Fury Road was a 2015 reboot of the Mad Max franchise that won critical acclaim and picked up 10 Oscar nominations. It starred Charlize Theron, Tom Hardy and Zoe Kravitz, and it was filmed in the brutal heat of the Australian desert. And now a new book by New York Times journalist Kyle Buchanan lifts the lid on an extraordinary story of on-set drama. Things got so bad between co-stars Charlize and Tom that she demanded on-set security after an incident when he was 3 hours late for the start of filming that led to a row after she suggested that the producers should fine the fudging cult $100,000 for every minute he's held up the crew. So did things really kick off? Well, Zoe Kravitz addressed the rumours back in 2017 and, well, does sound quite spicy.
Did you witness any beef between Charlize and Tom Hardy on the set of Mad Max?
Huh. Yeah.
It was reported that they didn't get along.
Yeah, they didn't get along.
Yeah.
They didn't get along. I actually don't know what, if there was one issue. I just think it was like they weren't vibing.
It's been one of the big shows on Netflix in 2022. The Tinder Swindler tells the story of Simon Leviev, who's a unique approach to Tinder, an approach that's got him into real trouble with the law and has seen him spend time in prison in Finland and in Israel. He's maintaining his innocence, although there are still warrants out for his arrest in several countries, and he spoke to Inside Edition.
I'm the biggest gentleman in the world. As they call me the Tinder Swindler, I'm not a fraud and I'm not a fake. People don't know me, so they cannot judge me. I am not a Tinder swindler.
Some of his victims weren't impressed by his denials and they popped up on GMB to let the world know exactly what they thought, including Ceciline, who lost hundreds of thousands of pounds to Simon.
The thing is that this guy is going to lie until he dies. He's never going to admit it. And that's just how he's been living his life since his childhood, actually. So it doesn't surprise me at all.
This has been The Smart 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day.